Oz Yoshir. The word Yoshir is shir, song. And song gives us the concept of happiness. Because you don't sing unless you're happy. There are sometimes you can sing because there's a lot of pain and suffering. But normally in our Torah Haggadosha, the Kohanim couldn't start their karbonas until the Levium was shir al aducha. They had to go up in there and accompany the Kohanim when they were doing their karbonas, that they had to sing. And that's an interesting concept, because shir in itself is not, if it doesn't have kedusha in it, it doesn't partake in the true value of the kataris. Therefore, let's look at the letters of shir: shin, yud, resh. Let's look at the letters before and letters after. So the letters before shin, resh. Before yud, tes. And before a resh, kuf. Kuf. What do you get?
Rig.
Kuf, tes.
Oh, sorry. Keter. Keter. Kuf, tes, resh.
It's keter. Ketoris. So the shir al aduchat is ketoris. The letters are being made on that. And that goes back to the concept of keturah.
Did you sing shir? Did they sing shir when they put the ketoris itself?
Yes.
They did?
Yes.
It was all of it.
Right. So the Kohanim could not do their avodah of ketoris unless it was shir al aduchat.
Also for Kabbalas too, right?
Yes, yes.
Always.
Yeah, the song was, because that created a certain amount, an environment and an atmosphere of happiness.
The Levim were singing all day.
Yeah. That's a very beautiful idea. And they were singing, what were they singing?
Tehillim.
Tehillim? No, yeah, but the Tehillim didn't come until much later.
Why?
David HaMelech.
David HaMelech. Okay, so
we had guitarists earlier already.
Okay.
So they must have been singing songs of praise to Hashem. Besides the Oz Yoshir, there must be a lot of tefillah that was brought to song.
Well, was the shir required only in the Beis Hamikdash or in the Mishkan too?
I think in the Mishkan too. That's what I think. I hope I'm right, but I have to look into that to make sure. Because what happened? Avraham Avinu took back Keturah. But let's look in the words of Keturah. What are the letters? Now we know the letters after Keturah is Shir, which is Sarai.
Right.
And the letters before Keturah.
Kuf Tes Resh. Before that is Sadi, Ches,
Kuf.
Zachat.
Zachat. Sorry, I laughed. Yitzchak. That you would have a son at 100 years old. So then Keturah, who Avram, because she did tshuva, and Avram took her back. She must have had some of the attributes of Sarah. Therefore, from Sarah came Yitzchak, because the concept of tzachek is also there. It's happiness. And that's what shir does. It makes you happy. And that's the concept of shir and Sarai, that even after all the problems that Hagar had, she was able to come back to Hashem. And that's why Avram took her back.
Cool.
So let's go to this week's parsha of Vahi B'Shalach Parah. Hashem did not want to take him to the way of the Philistine. Why? First of all, let's look at the letters of Shalach. Shin, Lamed, Ches. First of all, just by slowly just moving the letters around, it comes Cholash. Asher Cholash Baderach, that he made you weak. Amalek made you weak. Chol Shabaderach. Sorry? let's look at the him being a sitter.
By 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 Professor Zafar?
Mhm.
Right.
First of all, Zohar, usually
Shekarcha b'derech.
Korcho Anachasholim. That's cholash. Weaken you. Acharecho. But the oyev yogeya. And you were tired and hurt. You were in pain. So the concept of Zohar is cholash, means the letter after Zayin is a ches, after Chov is a lamed, and after Resh is a shin. Gives you nechashal or shalach or cholash.
Lachash is also silent.
Cholash.
Lachash is also silent.
Yeah, it's what?
Lachash means to be quiet.
Right. But the letters before cholash is Zohar. Because we're afraid that they might remember all of the problems. Pen Yinochem Harbreis and B'chama V'shuva Mitzrayim. They would not only become weak in their thought or their ability to stand up against the situation that they're in, and turn back to Mitzrayim. And that would be a concept of disassociation with the Rabbanu Shalom Chas v'Shalom.
Turning back to Mitzrayim is turning away from Hashem.
Right. But they say Pen Yinochem Om B'Roisim Milchom. What's the Yinochem again? The letters of Nochem before are mazel. They will say that there's our mazel that we must return, that we cannot continue on.
You say Ein Mazel Yisrael.
Right. But by saying that there is mazel, chas v'shalom, they would return because it's exactly the opposite.
Yeah, it's the opposite of what?
Of the mazel of happiness, you go to the mazel of sadness. Mazel is. You could have mazel to say mazel tov. You have a chasana, okay? The Rabbanu Shalom, because the word nachem is to like nachamu ami. It means be happy. Praise Hashem for what Hashem has done for us. But when it says over here, pen, Kilmar Hashem, pen yinochem ar bereisa b'chomo, pum verkehrt, exactly the opposite. Beshuv Mitzrayim, they would return to Mitzrayim. Okay, let's continue here. So after all of these issues, the okay, you are lazy.
The Vuchim is lazy.
So important, not being with the program.
You have it. Shushan Navocha. Means lazy. That means like bewildered.
Yeah, well, if you're bewildered, you don't think that what the kedusha of a kaviyach or Rabbanu Shalom is chas v'shalom.
Same with lazy.
You're not with the program. You're with the pogrom. Exactly the opposite in today's understanding.
Okay.
Okay. Then that's what happened. V'chizakti es lev paro. My question is, how can Kaviyach Rabbanu Shalom intercede in somebody's desire to do something and say, no, you can't do it? Because if somebody is about to already make an affair, chas v'shalom, they fall through the trap. Now, here we have the similar concept. Vayechazik is late paro. And Hashem, what did Hashem do to the late paro? What's this chazik? Let's look at the letters after chazik. Ches, tes, yeah, kuf, resh. What do we get? Torach or chorat.
Right.
First they said vayetar. Pray for us so that these makas go away. Because with the suffering and the pain is so intense, we can't handle it anymore. But then they had a charat. No, let's hit them for it. Let's do it exactly. Even though we were told by Moshe Rabbeinu that we're going to go, we'll be hurt. No, Chazik Lepara. He changed it himself to Chorat.
Who, the Paro?
Yeah.
How?
Because he didn't let him go.
So he changed his Charata to Torah.
Right, yeah, Charata. So that's the concept of Chazik is Charata, Torah or Chorat.
Wow.
Because Zakti is late paro. Urodav Achreim. Right? Where did they run and who did they run to? Verodav Achreim. Who ran to where after who?
Mitzrayim ran after Jews.
Mitzrayim ran after
us.
They forced us out again. Or forced us not to go out. Boom verkeerd. Exactly the opposite.
It pulls back.
That's right. Get back into your servitude. Servitude. Serve is savar, to think. Atud. Yada. You think you understand what's going on? No, we know what's better for you. The servitude is important because that'll keep you alive. Otherwise, you fall through.
Serve is savar.
To think.
And etude is yada.
Yota adat.
I'm not following that.
Serve.
I got that part.
Atud. Yeah, ted.
Servitude.
Yeah, the time. A thought. The time of thinking that you want to do it the other way. No. You're going to continue doing what we want you to do and not what you think you're going to do. Are you with me?
I think so.
Okay. Therefore, Mitzrayim ki borach ha'om v'yahapech l'lei paro b'avel eskol v'yomer mazos osinu ki shalachnu es Yisrael me'avdeinu osinu. What is this? What have we done? Take the letters of Osa. Aleph, Shin, Ayin, Shin, Hey. Osa. Right? What are the letters before Ayin, Shin, Hey?
Reish.
Dalet. Seder. When we say, Asher also, Rabbanu Shalom gives us everything but Seder. We have Chasal Sidur Pesach Kihil Chosa. We just finished doing the Seder.
Vayar, we say Bereshis. Vayar Elokim Eskol Asher Asa B'nei Tov Ma'od.
Yeah, Seder. Whatever the Kaviyachol the Rabbanu Shalom does is by us a Seder, a certain reckoning of doing. So when you do something L'Shem Mitzvah, that's the true Seder. But if you don't do L'Shem Mitzvah, it can't continue. That's why Paro did not do it, L'Shem, whatever he thought he did it, that he had Charata or and changed his mind. No, he was Tarach the other way. It was a Chazik. If every time there's a Chazik, there's no Seder.
Every time there's chazik, every time there's a
Charata.
tarach,
Yeah.
there's no seder.
Yeah.
Why?
Because you have Chorat or Torah.
Why is there no seder then?
Because it falls by the wayside. You have Charata, the Chazek. And he didn't send the Klal Yisrael out because he didn't allow Paro to continue. That's the concept of Chazek. Are we together?
No, I'm not following this.
Okay.
Stand up. Tarach or
Chorat.
Torah.
It could be either way. By changing the letters around, Chazek is Chorat or Torah. By Chazek is Le Paro because the Khartoumim gave up also. And that's Chorat. Khartoumim. That's where it all started from. Well, come on, we don't need these Jews here. They think they'll go, but they won't survive their own desires.
Okay, so then Seder and Asa and Chara, I'm not following you.
If you do something out of a Seder, you're doing it without the intentions of Kaviyachol Derabon Shalom. And if you do something, even Paro, he first said, I agree, then let them go out. Then he changed his mind. Because at Chazek, he wasn't Tarach anymore, he was Chorat. That's why Hashem said by Chazek. Because he did it himself at the Khartoum in Mitzrayim also.
If you're not following the word of Hashem, therefore there's no Seder, and therefore,
The Asa.
if we didn't do anything,
That's right.
and therefore,
They said that Kishalachno es Yisrael me'avdenu, to let them go out of our servitude. V'yesar es richboy ves amoy lokach imo. V'yirach shesh me'az rechav, he took 600 of his strongest chariot defense and offensive strength. V'shlish kula v'yachazek Hashem as lei para melech Mitzrayim v'yirdav achar b'nei Yisrael, and they ran after because they were a fraud. V'yirdov. Wherever we have the word rodaf, running in the same letters as fraud. That's where we get the words we get that by Lot, by Yipared Lot. Lot had the Kedusha of Avraham Avinu. He had everything he ever wanted. And he goes and becomes the mayor of Sodom. By Yipared, he was a fraud. So if you run away from something that you know that is not right, you're a fraud.
if you run away from something that's not right,
Yeah.
why are you a fraud?
That because it's not right that you're running away. Lot ran away from the Kedusha of Avraham Avinu. He was a fraud. He
was running away from something that was right.
Yeah, so it works either way.
Why? No, because if you're running away from Sheker, you're not a fraud. You found the truth, you're running toward the truth.
No, but the sheker here was Mitzrayim.
What I'm saying though is that if he's running away from a Abraham,
Yeah,
then he's the fraud.
No, he
If
is
he's
a
running
fraud.
away from stone, then it's not a fraud.
No, but he ran away from Avram to Sodom.
Correct. That's a fraud.
Right.
Right. Okay.
And same thing here. Paro is saying it's Etzba Elokim first, then he had Charata, and then he ran after Klal Yisrael, and then Paro himself was a fraud now. First he says, Vayetar, pray for me, and then he changes his mind and goes chasing after with 600 men. A year though. Vayirdafu again, Mitzrayim Acharem v'yasigo esam choinu al hayom. called Sus Vrech Vayev Rosha V'Chelo Api Achiris B'Pnei Bal Tzafon. Are we together?
Yes.
Okay. So you see what I'm getting after here. The Chazek is from Kav Yachol D'Rabbanan Shalom. And everything that deals with Charota is a disassociation from the Kedusha of Hashem, Chas v'Shalom.
Okay.
That's why they insult the Rabbon Shalom Chas v'Shalom. They did insult. That's why they had to go through the cleansing of the Yam. Water cleanses to a certain degree, and they had to after all the insults that they put on to Klal Yisrael and to Hashem, the fraud had to be compensated for, because the word "kam" is "kum." Come, kum, no, come, please. Again, the word "come" comes from "kum." Kof mem is "come."
Why does it have to be done in the water?
Because water is a cleansing factor. We go to the mikveh to cleanse ourselves.
So it's fire. Fire is also cleansing.
Yeah, but you can swim away, but once you're stuck on fire, you cannot leave. Okay, because Hashem did not destroy them, because they still had a chance to do tshuva. Because you can try to swim away if you have the schus. But if you didn't have the schus, then you had to be burnt. Okay. Right. Or you had the makkah of Bechoros. All the makkahs that they went through Mitzrayim, they did not do tshuva. After having all these things brought to them, they still said no. But it was on their own basis.
Klal Yisrael didn't do tshuva either.
Who?
Klal Yisrael didn't do tshuva either.
Yeah, but we came from Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. We came from Kedusha. And if you come from Kedusha, you have a great ability to return to Kedusha.
I always wondered about this because Klal Yisrael, it says that when the Yam saw them, like hello, when the Yam saw the two nations,
right,
it says these are Avodah Zarah, these are Avodah Zarah. So why are we saving them and not them?
But our Avodah Zarah has tshuva in front of it and behind it. Toshu, to return. And who returns? For instance, take the word ger. A ger is a person that has turned back. But let's take the letters before. Gimel is a base, and after a resh is a shin. Shuv, to come back.
Okay, so the tshuva.
So Klal Yisrael has the ability to do tshuva.
What's the ger toshav then?
I was once speaking to several gerim, and they felt bad. So I said, please don't feel bad, because you were forced into becoming a ger.
Were they forced? They were ger.
Because if they were originally, let's say you get a Catholic individual, under the fear of being killed, you became a goy. But to return, you have to go through gerus. But that doesn't mean that you were bad. On the contrary, poof ahead. When a ger comes back, he's called a ger. And why? Because now he's leaving the avodah zarah. He's leaving the unfortunate that he was forced into. He's shuv. But not Mitzrayim. It doesn't give you the gerus.
When you said that he was forced into it, if he was a goy to begin with, he wasn't forced into anything. It was the Yid who left.
No. An individual that is forced into becoming a goy, his family continues that way.
The Yid was forced to become a goy.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Day after the war, during the war. Fine.
So
Okay.
therefore, when they become gerim,
But he never became a ger because he was always a yid. He did the tshuva.
that's what I told them. They felt that they were gerim because they were going to start with. I said, no, you're not. The reason why you became a ger is because you're originally a Jew.
Um,
Because the letters tell you exactly why ger before gimel is the base and after resh is a shin. Shuv. But shuv Mitzrayim that did not give him any kedusha. Pung verkehrt. Instead of becoming kodosh, they became kadeshus. And that's why when we did the Yemei Mitzorah, we fell through. But when we did Tshuva, the Rebbeinu says, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami, I'm going to take you back. Nachamu again. Going back to the beginning of the passage. Why? Because you were royed to Tshuva.
you were
Royed to Tshuva. That's why it says, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami.
Why?
Because the Yemei Mitzorah was issues, the Meriva and other issues there that would have caused them to fall through. But since Hashem is there, the Rabbanu Shalom keeps you going, keeps you coming back. Because if you have the Amunah, it always comes back. That's the same story that my father, today his is your side, that my father went through. He came from a town that had several gerim in it, quite a few, number of gerim, and they were so enchanted with the kedusha of Torah and Klal Yisrael that they became gerim. So I said, no, they didn't become gerim out of violation. They became gerim because their families originally were Yidden. They were forced into it, like Paro was trying to do here. That's tshuva. Shuv, ger, the word ger is the word for shuv, to come back.
So okay, I get that part. That the yid who is left and came back, he's still a yid. I get that part. What's it got to do with Paro?
Paro wanted to take the Jews
And take them back to the tribe.
That's right, and impress them that whatever you've done to yourselves is only your destruction. Come back to us, we'll take care of you. You'll work for us, and we'll all be well off.
One happy family.
Yeah.
And we said no, not doing it.
Because Hashem, because we could not do tshuva under the guise
Of Paro.
of Paro. That's what we have today too. My father had a problem that the yeshiva boys, some the ones that became Gerim, Hitler hated it with a passion to destroy them even worse. So what did they do? They took all the Gerim and they sent them up to the mountains to hide and protect themselves from the Nazis.
That was with the Mir Shanghai.
Right. And the same thing happened later on. What happened is that they came back for the Jewish boys, for the other Bochum. And what had happened then? They took the Yiddish Bochum and they gave them different names. And these names survived them, but they told them, you have to go to the mountains, take care of these Gerim, learn with them, and make sure there's tefillah and everything there with them so they maintain their kedusha. But you have to learn one thing from them. You have to learn from them how to kill. A ger that unfortunately fell through the cracks and was taught how to kill, because that's what they do. Again, non-Jewish boys fell through the cracks, and they would become murderers. So they had to learn how to kill the Nazis. So the Ger would teach them because they knew very well what was going on.
That was it. And their name Katal.
I'm sorry. Yes, lekatel means to murder. Unkelos says that lekatel is to murder.
Where does it say that?
Wherever you're looking to kill, it says lekatel. There. Let's see, find it here.
By the
Maybe when you see it, you're about you do. You're used to the Chumash. Lo yisiktel nefesh.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, Unkelos. That's where the word Catholic comes from. Lekatel. The greatest killers of people through civilization was under the impression of the Katel.
Where does the word Christian come from?
Chorus. I mean, there are other issues that I'm afraid to continue on this concept.
I'm not going to publicize this.
But sometime in the future, it may be.
Not necessarily.
I was told, please refrain from going too far.
By who?
By Rabbanim, Dastor. Because it's always turned around. Because look what happened to these Ger boys. They were originally Yidden. They were forced into becoming lekatel under the guise of murder.
I think you should say it anyways.
Huh?
I think you should say it. But keep the video private. At least it's beyond.
There's no such thing as private, I'm sorry.
Really?
I mean, there are other issues here that we talked about, but we can continue, but not being recorded. If you want to stop for a second, I will continue.
Afterwards, we'll.
Okay, we'll continue later on. All right, so the whole concept over here of shalach, and deals basically in, well, it's interesting, you have here Yisro, that's the next parsha, right? No. Is Yisro the next one? Maybe Shalapara.
What do you need?
Yisro. What's the next parsha?
What about Yisro?
Yisro, right? After Beshalach comes Yisro. Okay. Yes. Yisro. Vayishma Yisro Kohen Midyan Chaysen Moshe es kol asher osa Elokim LaMoshe Yisro Ki Hotzi es Yisro Mimitzrayim. This is the end of servitude. But he still became Kohen Midyan. The letters before Kohen, Chof Hey Nun,
Yud, Daled,
Mem,
Yadam.
Yodom, Miyad, Kohen, right? And Chose and Moshe. Okay, why? He still went and he went to Midian, but this going to Midian still helped Klal Yisrael. There wasn't a total lack of belief in Hashem, because from Yisrael comes the concept of Parshat Mishpat. That was Yisrael, right?
It's fine. Midjan is also from Madai.
Yeah.
It's Yadam also.
Yodam, right. Because he was a Kohen, but he left. He could have been a Kohen with Klal Yisrael through Moshe Rabbeinu.
How can he be Kohen? He can't be Kohen.
His children would be Kohen.
Yisro's children?
Yeah.
Oh. If
The third
Moshe would
Levi
have
was,
been a Kohen,
a Levi. Moshe was a Cohen.
then Moshe gave the Kahuna to Aaron, but he would have
Right,
been a Kohen.
right, but it came from Moshe.
Right.
If everything would have stayed together like this, correct? Okay, so Vayishma Yisrael, and he heard Yud, Tov, Resh. What are the letters before Yud
Test.
and before a Resh? For Tov,
Shin.
Shin, and before Resh,
Kuf.
Sheket. In order to listen, you have to be quiet.
Wow.
Where else do we find it? But Yechratz Kelev L'Shano. Even the dog understood what was going on in Mitzrayim, so it kept quiet. That's why we have a concept of Bosa Trefa Lakelach L'Shlicha also. Whatever food gets left over, I'm very careful. I try to be Mekayim the mitzvah Bosa Trefa Lakelach L'Shlicha also. You have to give it to the dog. Why? Because the dog was Choratz, Ches, Reish, Tzadik. After Ches comes a,
Test.
after Reish comes a,
Shin.
and after Tzadik,
Kuf.
what do you get?
Second. No. Second. Yes. No.
Again. It's a big thing. A dog will not keep quiet if it's in front of food or it's hurt in any way or it fears. After Ches comes the Tes, Reish comes the Shin, right? And the Tzaddik.
That's a second.
Oh, Sheket. I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Yeah, it is quiet.
Yeah,
Sheket. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said second.
I'm sorry. Please
I said quietly.
Yeah, that's why you said quiet. I couldn't hear. I didn't understand. So the Sheket is, in order to listen, you have the Yishma, you have to be quiet. You have to continue listening. And that's what the dog did. That's what Yisro did. Okay? Because Moshe Rabbeinu was trying to tell him, come with us. You become a leader in Klal Yisrael. A Dayan, for sure. To be Marbitz Torah. He could have become he wasn't considered a ger. Because at that time, Yidden were all suffering from the same problem. And it was just, what is it? Yishma Moshe is called Asher Osa Elakim Moshe Uli Yisrael Ama Ki Hoitzi Es Yisrael Mitzrayim. And he took Zipporah, which is Yisrael's daughter, and from Zipporah came Gershon, right? And Eliezer, and from followed the rest of the family, because Aaron took the other sister.
Elisheva.
Huh?
Aaron took Elisheva.
Yeah. So that was also the sister of Zipporah.
No, Elisheva.
Who was Elisheva? I'm sorry.
Wasn't she Nachshon's sister? Which was Elisheva Bas Aminadov, no? Was she Nachshon's sister?
Yom Yisrael, Baruch Hashem Asher Hitzil Eschem Yad Mitzrayim, Yad Para Asher Hitzil Esa'on, Tachlis Yad Mitzrayim. Ata Yodati, Ki Godel Hashem Mikol Ho'elohim, Ki B'dover Hazeh Zodu Aleim. V'yir Yisrael Moshe, Chosim Moshe, Ol Zvachim, V'yov Aaron B'chol Ziknei, Yisrael Lechol Lechem Im Chosim Moshe, Lifnei Elohim, for Hashem. Okay, let's continue on. So we understand now the concept of being quiet when you have to speak. And that's exactly what happened to Yisro. But the other portion, the other concept that I have over here, Yisro, not Yisroi, should have had a hey at the end of it.
Why?
Because Rus wanted a hey in her name, so it made it Torah. Because hey is Simcha Chamesh, Chamesh Chum Torah. And Yisro already had the concept. Because from him came the Shoftim V'Shotrim. He came brought the concept of wholeness in the rule of law. The word law is kale, backwards in English. Wow. The reality of this is to re'eh kale, to see Hashem real. Reality, real.
I think we need to stop here.
Okay.
I think I'm overloaded for today. That was really good.
But to finish this thing off, what I wanted to mention to you is that Yisro finally understood that what he had to do is make sure to protect Klal Yisrael. If he didn't want to become part of Klal Yisrael, he had to protect them going to Midian, going to these other places to placate them. That's what his desire was. Now, what he did may have been even more or greater than staying with Klal Yisrael with Moshe, because he protected Klal Yisrael on
On the
the
outside.
outside.
Right. What you did the inside.
Yes. Because he had the schus that the Seres of Dibbers appears in his parsha too.
He was supposed to have a parsha.
Right. That's a big thing that you have the schus. But so Yisro should have been spelled Yisro with a hey, because he was Makayim, the concept of Torah and Kedusha by protecting Klal Yisrael. The hey would have been Chamesh Yachum Shetorah or Simcha. Was he happy with what he did? I don't think so. Because he would have loved to stay, but he had to placate the other nations around him.
So that's his tafkid.
Exactly, that was his
So
tafkid.
that's his purpose.
Right.
So he should be happy with that.
Yeah, so the hey was not really there. That's why you put a vav. Hey, vav. It was the next best thing. But the yud was upset now. Because the yud is echad, is 1, 10. Right? So if he couldn't the Torah couldn't accept the yud because the hey wasn't there anymore. Yud K Vav K. Starts with a yud and starts with a hey. Right? Same concept. So what did the yud do in this? So we have the same thing with the hey. It's Sorah, Sorai, Sorah with the hey. Avram, to Avraham.
Split into.
Yeah. So it brings the hey back. So the hey is Simcha and Chamisha Chum Shetar, because that's where it all came from. And that's where you get the concept of a Yid that never falls through the cracks, but he can always return because he's got the fundamental, the seed of Kedusha. And the seed is the sod, the secret of Yesod, is the foundation of.
Wow.
Thank you. I appreciate your time and your effort.